Hello, you guys, and welcome to today's episode of Single Mom Thriving. It's been a minute. I haven't posted since before the holidays, so we're going to do like a quick little update and then dive into a few little topics I've been thinking about lately, things that have been on my mind, things have been weighing on me. But first and foremost, I do want to say to all the single moms, I know I put out an episode right before the holidays, and I'm just hoping everyone had a great holiday season with their babies, with their families, with their friends, with their loved ones, and navigated it with as much grace as possible because it is always a difficult thing for single parents to get through. If you live in the Midwest, I'm just going to say between Christmas break, the influenza outbreak, especially like I'm in the Detroit area in Michigan. Oh my gosh, I feel like my daughter has hardly been to school in the past 2 months. And then add the snow days and the like Arctic below zero temperatures that they keep getting snow days for on top of that. I feel like my child has literally hardly been in school for 2 months. We had the holidays, we went back, like influenza, and even I heard COVID was like running rampant through her class. She got it actually, and I was so upset when I was coming back from a trip with my boyfriend. We were coming back from Arizona. She ended up getting sick like the last day we were there. And I cried on the phone. I'm not gonna lie. I panicked. I cried. Because she had a really high temp, like 104 something, that was super high. And I called her dad crying, and he was like, "She's fine." And I was like, "Well, I'm not there with her." Like, so upset. Like, I'm sure my moms can relate. Like, when your kids have that high fever and you're just like panicking because it won't go down. But yes, like I came home, walked into the door of my child with influenza A. After she went to the doctor, they confirmed. So she was out of school for over a week with that, at least a week and a half, between the fever, the congestion. She is one of those kids that will cough so much that it will actually make herself throw up a little bit. TMI, but like, oh my God, the fever, the snot, it was so much. I somehow dodged it. Her dad got it miraculously. I did not get sick, and I don't know how, but I'm not mad about it. I took all my immune things, my supplements, and I somehow dodged it, being locked into the house with her for like several days in a row with that high fever, and I'm just grateful for that. So yeah, we had the sickness going on. Then we went straight into this like massive Midwest snowstorm where we got 6+ inches here in the Detroit area in the suburbs. So they had a snow day for that, but it was also so cold that I was like, you can't come outside because you just got over being sick. It's been a time, you guys. We rolled into the new year, guns blazing. But we did have a great holiday. Lots of memories made. She had a lot of fun. I did share previously, it was my first Christmas morning not having her in the morning, and I got her even a little bit later than I had asked originally. And I posted a TikTok, and it was on Instagram as well, like of me just like sitting there Christmas morning with my coffee in my Christmas jammies. I had hers like ready by the door so I could change her into hers as soon as she got there, but just like the toys out, the Santa's gifts out, and just like waiting patiently for my child to come home. And I made that TikTok because it was like, sending love to all the single parents waiting for Christmas morning to start until their child until it's their time with their child, is I believe how I worded it. A lot of people reached out that it really resonated with them because it is weird. You wake up on Christmas morning and you're like, okay, we can't start yet. And then I'm like sitting here having my cup of coffee, like waiting for her dad to bring her home and being like, where is she? When is she coming? But I literally like took her into the kitchen immediately. He was like, I'm going to shower and then bring her over. Like, and I was like, no, it's already late. Like, just bring her here. I'll shower. So I literally had the Christmas jammies waiting in the kitchen, took her into the kitchen so she couldn't see anything yet, put her Christmas jammies on, and like we had our Christmas morning by noon. But we made it work. And it was a fun little day. But yeah, so we're getting caught up. I made an effort to be very present, and my big thing for this year is peace and presence and just loving my time being a mom whenever I can. So I haven't even recorded a podcast. I was like, no, I really want, especially, and then she was sick. I'm like, no, I'm just going to be with her, make sure she's good. So we got a lot of quality time together, unfortunately, through sickness, but there was a part of me that was also grateful for lots of quality time together too. Just like the two of us hanging out at home, just spending time together, not doing things. But beyond that little update, there are a few things that have popped up for me in the past month-ish that I kind of like took notes, like, oh, I want to talk about that whenever I do the next episode. So I am going to go over a few of those things today. And one of the main like overarching themes that I've realized is obviously I've embraced single motherhood. Like I see the perks of it. I see the good in it now. I can see, the benefits, that I'm so happy here and that I wouldn't be in this situation had I not become a single mother. And I am so like grateful for that and being able to look at it from that mindset. But like, as I try to always be honest and transparent, there are still times that I get angry about the fact that I'm a single parent. And with saying that, it's like at the same time, I in no way, shape, or form wish to be with the parent of my child anymore, but it's just situationally and different scenarios that bring it up in me, kind of that underlying, like, this wasn't what I fucking signed up for. Like, I love so many parts of it, but I also want to always be honest and human and tell you guys there are still the parts of it that I'm like, this wasn't supposed to fucking be it. Like, and I have to handle all this shit by myself now, which is unfair because this wasn't my actions that led to this happening, but here I am. So we're still human. We still have emotions. And I will continue to probably circle back on this theme multiple times in episodes on here because I always want to avoid, as I've said before, the toxic positivity of single mom thriving. You should always be happy and thriving and doing the best at everything because no, you're still human. There's still things that are hard. There are still things that suck. And it's normal to have those emotions still pop up at times, even if you're in a new relationship and very happy, even if you love the situation you have now with your child and the one-on-one time you get with them, you will still feel these things. You will still feel them. They will still come up. And one that really popped up for me lately that kind of made me laugh was with all this snow going on, my parents actually had gifted me their old snowblower. It is probably from the 80s or 90s. Like, let's be honest. They are those people that will fix something until it can no longer be fixed. And I'm over here like, why don't you just buy a new one with multiple things? So needless to say, this is a very old snowblower, like I said, probably 80s or 90s, that they have probably fixed parts in it multiple times. Obviously, I'm grateful for the snowblower. It worked one of the times, and I was grateful to have it work that time because I was like, oh, I can get this done in like 15 minutes. Great. Not as physically taxing on my body. I'm 5 feet tall. I work out, but like, that's still, it's difficult. It's heavy. It's snow. So we had this, winter snowstorm, 6+ inches. Everyone's like snowed in. I went to start my snowblower and it would not stay on. I did all the things. I troubleshooted. It was just not happening for me. It would go on, stay on for 10 seconds, and then shut down. I ChatGPT'd. I did all the things. This boy was just not going to work for me. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to do this by hand. And it is a lot of snow. I have a fairly long driveway, had to do the sidewalk, the porch, all the things. It took me about an hour. I have an Ordo ring. The calorie burn was like off the charts. I was dripping with sweat by the time I was done and came inside. And I was so pissed, number one, about the snowblower. But number two, it was like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to be out in the snow shoveling for an hour. Like, there's supposed to be someone else taking care of this for me, which, no, that's not true. But also, at the moment, I was so angry about it that I was having to do it, and I was struggling so badly with it that I was like, I'm pissed off. I should have never had to have all this responsibility of taking care of everything at the home, my child, my business, like so much on my back. It's just like one more thing on top was the spiral I was going on in my own mind. So, yes, that still pops up. I still get angry about things. At the same time, though, I do want to highlight when you focus on the good, like there's always something good. And during the snowstorm, I told Rena all day, if you have a snow day tomorrow, we'll pack up in the car and we will go over to her grandma's house and surprise her for a sleepover, because she was alone. My dad was out of town, and I was like, we'll show up with Vivian, the dog. We'll load in the car and we'll pull in the driveway, and I'll call and you can yell, unlock the doors, God, we're coming in. Like, we had this whole plan, okay? So all day I'm waiting. They don't call her snow day until like 7:30 at night. I'm like, really, you guys? You had to wait until the last minute. So at 8 o'clock, we were in the car in our jammies with the dog. We had to climb through the snow that had like blown and drifted on our driveway, like well over 6 inches high. Like, she's climbing through it. I'm climbing through it. The dog's jumping through it. We're cracking up, laughing our asses off. We finally get in the car. We are like literally side streets to get to each other within 5 minutes. I have 4-wheel drive. So like, the roads were obviously terrible, but like, we were laughing about the roads and look at all the snow and blah, blah, blah. And we were driving there and I was cracking up and I was like, Rena, I hope you remember this stuff. Like, I hope you remember this when you're older, because I remember little glimmers of memories of things with my parents that were like so funny and fun and spontaneous like that, like things you wouldn't normally do, and thinking like how fun that was. And I still remember them to this day. And I always catch myself being like, I really hope she remembers this when she's older. Like, I hope she remembers the fun little things we did and that I was a fun mom and a cool mom and not a boring mom. And yeah, it was just a fun little reminder of like, I hope this is a core memory that she remembers. The things we do that, also, another way to think of it, we would have never done had I not become a single mom. Like, if I was at home with my husband, I wouldn't be like, we're going to load in the car and go to grandma's for a sleepover. So it has presented me with a lot of opportunities like that to give her those experiences that she will probably remember. There's one that she honestly probably will not remember. She might. I mean, it's hard to say. She was probably 3 years old, and we were renting the condo that I lived in between moving out during my divorce and when I bought our home that we live in now. And I remember she kept saying she wanted to go to the beach. She wanted to go to the beach. And we don't live directly by any beaches, but there's a few within like 30 minutes of our home. And it was summer, and I remember being like, you know what? You want to go to the beach? Let's go to the beach. And loading in the car at like 6:30 and driving the half hour to the beach and playing in the water with her, and just that like spontaneous, like, let's just get up and go and do that. And I remember on the way home, because we hadn't eaten dinner yet, I got her a Happy Meal, and we were eating McDonald's in the car while we were driving home. And I had a little video of her sitting in the back seat with all the windows rolled down and her hair is blowing everywhere. And she's like eating her cheeseburger and like dancing to the music we had on. And it was another moment where I was like, I hope she remembers these things. Like the spontaneous, unplanned, like, again, things I would never do if I wasn't a single parent, probably. Like, just that fun, let's go do that, you know, the little things that I hope she really remembers about me as a mom when she's older. Another thing I've noticed is when I feel that anger still come back up a little bit, situations where I'm spending money. And I don't always, and I've been very transparent about this from the start, I don't always get my support, or I don't always get it when I'm supposed to. So there's a lot of times when I'm shopping and she needs something for, you know, the Christmas gifts for the teachers, that I bought gifts for both of the teachers in her room, or, you know, she wanted a special dress for her Christmas party, or her Christmas recital at school where they were singing. So I got her this cute little sequin dress at Target, you know, another $30. Here's the, you know, the $25 on the teacher gifts. I don't even remember the other thing. There was something else I had to give her money for. Her school pick, like everything. There's always like these little extra expenses that I sit here and think the amount of child support I get isn't accurate for what I spend monthly on this child. You know, buying her new clothes for every season. You don't get extra support for that. You know, things like that where I'm like, I spend so much more money on her than other people do, and it's like I'm not compensated appropriately for the amount of money I spend. You know, she's got one winter coat this season, and guess who bought it? And it goes back and forth. Like, it's little things like that that bring the anger back up in me, where I'm like, oh, Jesus, like, it's not, you don't get the support you're supposed to get. I'll say that. And little things where I just have to be like, okay, I'm grateful that I have my small business that is still going after 6 years. A lot of small businesses don't make it. If you guys follow me on TikTok or whatever, you may have seen, I do side hustle a little bit here and there with DoorDash or Walmart Spark to supplement slow season at my business. So I could, if I have to pay myself a little bit less, I at least have that to make up for it, or for extra money for things for her, or to put in her college account to pay down debt. I am grateful that I'm able to kind of side hustle to supplement our lifestyle and make myself feel a little bit more comfortable. So I am grateful for the ability to do those things, and that kind of does offset the anger sometimes. The other thing I've noticed that does pop up for me occasionally, more often than not, is when I think about future scenarios, or I think about like the big picture of her life and being a single parent and raising her. That I think the ones that come up for me the most are that this is probably my only child. We were in the talks of trying for a second child before everything happened. And so like I lost that ability to have a second child realistically, with the timing, with situations, it's probably not going to happen. And so there are times I think to myself, like, this is my one child and I'm always going to be splitting it up. Like, she's never going to be with me all the time. There's always going to be things that I'm going to miss out on, and I won't have another child that I'll get to have that experience of having your child all the time. That's definitely the other place the anger and the resentment comes up, is realizing that forever, with probably my only child, I will always have to lose time, experiences to that extent for like probably forever. Obviously when they turn 18, you're not stuck to a custody schedule. It becomes, they're adults, they want to see their friends. They're not going to be like, oh, I go here to my mom's at this time. Like, it's going to be a little different, which, I understand that and realistic. And I just always have to remind myself, like, we still have the intentional time. We still have the great experiences. We still have our close bond. It's not going to be ruined because of that. And I think I always too think about like my mom, like my mother and Mai's relationship and how close we still are. Like, we talk on the phone every day. I'm surprised she hasn't called me yet this morning, to be honest. It's 9:30 and she hasn't called yet. Like, I'm sure she will in the next half hour because she calls every morning. But I always think about our relationship, and even the like, let's get in the car and go have a sleepover at grandma's. Like, we have always been very close our entire life or our entire lives. And I always hope and think like, but I will probably always still have that with her too, the way that we do. And so I'm really not going to miss out, like, she's always going to be close with me. I'm probably not going to give her a choice. I'm going to be like my mom and calling her every morning and let's go get lunch. Let's go do this. Like, bring the kids over. Let's have it's snow day in and watch movies together. Like, let's have a sleepover. I will probably be that same mother. So I do like to remind myself that I will probably still have that experience. So in the big picture, will I really miss out on like having that close bond with her? No. Will I miss out on time when she's young? Yes. And at this point, it's like, there's nothing you can do about it. And so I have to remind myself, like, if I can't change it, there's no point in wasting too much time being upset or, angry, or allowing it to take too much time or energy out of my life, or waste too much time or energy. Obviously, I let myself feel the feelings. I let myself be human. I let myself process it. But at the same time, I try not to stay hung up on it for too long, because at the end of the day, I can't change it. That's the situation. That's the reality. I can't do anything about it. So why waste more time than needed being upset and stressing about it when that's just the way the cards were dealt and the situation that I find myself in. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little episode today. If you are not following me on social media already, I did want to say make sure you are following me on TikTok. And these videos are always on YouTube of the podcast episodes. If you'd rather like watch me do these episodes and see me talking rather than just listening, I am big on Instagram and TikTok, and I do share a lot of content around being a single mom and running a small business and a lot of the topics I talk about on here. So make sure you connect with me over there. And other than that, hope you guys had a great start to your new year. Hope you are doing well, thriving, navigating, single parenthood the best way you can leading into the beginning of 26. I mean, by the time this goes up, it's almost February, but we are just full force into the new year here. So I hope you guys are having a great beginning of your year. I will catch you guys in the next episode. And as always, remember you're doing a great job, and try to always give yourself the credit you deserve for being a single parent and pushing through and handling shit and giving your children a beautiful and good life. I love you guys so much. Mwah, and I will catch you next time.